This 13-year-old boy was pinned down on the bed by heavily armed police early in the morning. Jamie Miller, it's 6:15 a.m. I'm arresting you on suspicion of murder. No one can believe that a skinny boy who is not yet a minor committed a serious murder. Jemmy was scared to pee his pants by heavily armed police. The police were forced to let Jemmy's father come up to help Jemmy change his pants and then take Jemmy to the police station for investigation. In the eyes of Jemmy's parents, their normally timid youngest son was scared to pee his pants. This murder was simply unbelievable. They kept screaming that Jai was still a child. There must be some kind of misunderstanding. So, is this really a misunderstanding? Investigating? Whether it is a misunderstanding or not is the responsibility of the police. No matter what, Jai is very suspicious. The police, amidst the cries and pleas of Jai's parents, dragged him out of the house and put him in the car on the way. Jemmy appeared to be very young. His son pressed his face close to the car window, unable to take his eyes off his parents who were crying non-stop. I know this is very difficult, but you have to calm down, okay? Calm down? What do you want your father to calm down after entering the police station? The first thing he said was denying the crime. I did not kill anyone, Jemmy. This matter is not within my jurisdiction. Answer my question. Okay, kid. Jemmy's parents were still in shock, but they were forced to go to the police station. The police did not clearly explain the situation of the case to Jai's parents. They just informed them in a formulaic way. Jai wanted him to be his suitable adult. What is a suitable adult? The so-called suitable adult is the person who accompanies a minor suspect to participate in the interrogation, blood draw, and investigation. Jamie's mother was the first to express her dissatisfaction. Normally her son was in charge. Why did her son choose dad? The police did not explain much. Jamie's mother complained a few times. She could only accept this result. In the end, the black police, I couldn't help but give you another warning. If your son confesses to you anything related to this case or anything that prompted this case to happen, you must inform us. Jemmy's father still has no idea what happened. A few minutes later, he finally met his son. His father believes you are innocent. Of course. He believes you next. They had to meet the lawyer together, and the lawyer proceeded to check the legality of the police proceedings and ask for some details of the case. Very well, I heard you want to take blood. Right, there is a scratch mark on his arm at the scene. There was also blood found, so this request is reasonable. The victim in this case died on the spot. There were many wounds on his body. It can be said that he died very tragically. This is enough to prove how cruel the killer was right now. The biggest suspect is Jemmy. He was asked to take off his pants for a physical examination. Jai's father can hardly stand it. Can't you see this? Is it too much? Imagine if the 13-year-old brother was stared at by two men. What would happen? But his protest was ineffective. He could only watch helplessly as his son took him off his clothes, accepting the test at this moment. The father's face was full of confusion, awkward, anger, helpless. All kinds of emotions were tormenting him, and the lawyer, before the police started the interrogation, gave advice to Jemmy. So, no matter what they asked, just answer. There's nothing to say. Okay, there's nothing to say, it's that simple. This time, the person in charge of the murder case was a black police officer. Jemmy had a very good academic record. He was a good student. The black police officer started asking Jemmy if he had a close friend. Jemmy answered yes, but specifically, who Jemmy still only had one sentence. Nothing to say. The black police officer had no choice but to redirect the question. To love, or more precisely sex Jemmy. On his Instagram, he shared some pictures of beautiful models. Jamie admitted that he liked this type of person. This, but absolutely has nothing to do with them after all. They are much older than him. This question is a breakthrough facing the photo of them together. He posted on Instagram. Jamie's next answers were much smoother. Of a girl. The girl in the photo, named Ketty, is the one who died in the case. She and Jamie were classmates, although not in the same class, but also studied together a few times. The policewoman tried to get Jamie to talk about the friendship between him and Kitty, but Jamie still only had one sentence, nothing to say. Then other friendships, he talked endlessly, but this friendship didn't say a word. Can you tell me why? No, Jemmy just said he and Ketty were just normal friends at near school. They talked, but after school there was no contact between the two. There was no relationship beyond friendship. Do you have feelings for her? No. The policewoman's questions became more and more intense, even directly pressed Jemmy to ask if he had sex with Keddy. His father couldn't help but interrupt, trying to use the fact that his son was still underage to protect him. But this was just a normal interrogation procedure. Jemmy could only deny that he and Keddy had a relationship. The black police continued to press him to ask if last night I went to look for Keddy. Jemmy immediately denied. I didn't kill her. You got the wrong person. But when the black police showed a photo of Keddy's body saying she was stabbed to death with 7 stabs, Jemmy couldn't bear it and bowed his head. The lawyer saw that the situation was not good and immediately wanted to interrupt the interrogation and ask for a break, but Jemmy's father felt that his son was innocent and it was okay to continue asking. The black police did not disappoint Jemmy's father's expectations. He immediately turned around and showed the surveillance footage. This was the surveillance footage from last night. In the footage, Jamie wore blue and white sneakers. First, he gathered with his 2 friends. After a while, he wandered the streets alone for an hour. Next, he started following KT. It was obvious that you were following her. I asked you again, why were you following her? Didn't you see? Jamie was still stubborn and refused to admit his guilt. The black police could only show the surveillance footage of him and Kitty arguing. The surveillance footage clearly showed Jemmy and Keddy arguing. Then Jemmy chased after and stabbed Keddy several times. Jemmy's father. Seeing this surveillance footage, Jemmy was extremely shocked and started to sob. Seeing him lose control of his emotions, the interrogation was temporarily stopped. The police and the lawyer both left the scene, leaving only Jemmy and his father. Jemmy cried and explained, Dad, I'm not your son. I didn't do anything. But such an explanation was obviously too weak. Though the black police were very unlikely to be able to interrogate anything from Jemmy, they could only go to Jemmy's school, and Jemmy's 2 good friends had been worried about this since early morning. At the same time, the black policeman's son, Adam, also studied at this school. Adam had originally sent a message to his father early in the morning, pleading not to go to school, but his father. The black policeman didn't pay any attention, pretending not to hear the news. Adam's brother only told his strict wife to deal with it. Adam was forced to go to school by his mother. His parents both thought that he hated going to school, but in reality, that was not the case. Adam had just entered the cafeteria when he received a call from his father, knowing that his father might come to his class for a trip. Immediately afterwards, a few classmates put trash on his tray. Adam was familiar with it, and after picking up his tray, he had not taken a few steps when he was stopped by a male student demanding money. In this situation, only the teacher who passed by stopped him with a sentence. The others all acted too familiar. He belonged to this scene. Clearly in this school, there is a phenomenon of bullying. Adam is not a day or two is considered a target for bullying, but his father is a black policeman but does not know anything about this. He goes to school and he receives a very respectful welcome from the teacher. He first meets the dead man's best friend. Keddy is a black girl. Black girl towards the questioning of black police. In her opinion, everyone knows the police have video of Jemmy's killer. They directly go arrest people to investigate. Jemmy is fine. Why do they have to ask what kind of person Keddy is? And what is the relationship between Keddy and Jemmy? Do they want to blame Keddy's death on Keddy? Why the black? Police tried to explain calmly, but the black girl did not accept. She even used Adam to attack the black police that Adam is terribly ugly, bro. Do you know that her bones are not as tall as yours? She spoke more and more angry. The black police could only watch the black girl leave. He turned to Jamie's class here, met their homeroom teacher, Miss Malik. He announced his identity to the students, asking them to call him if they had any clues out of the classroom. He and his colleagues discussed the current situation, although they had enough evidence, but if they couldn't find the knife, then this case still had room for the lawyer, and Judge Lay family said they must investigate the case thoroughly. If they couldn't find the murder weapon, then it wouldn't work. Moreover, this case currently lacked a motive. And they all knew Jamie killed Kitty. But why did he kill someone? The black girl's reaction just now made the black police even more suspicious. I know and understand. I just feel what she said, like Keddy really hates Jamie. Next, the black Police went to the senior student's class trying to ask the clue that his son was also in this class. The reaction of these children made the black police feel heavy in his heart, but he could only continue speaking. Unexpectedly, before he could finish speaking, the fire alarm rang. All the students withdrew from the school building. The black police could only grab Jemmy's homeroom teacher in the schoolyard, asking me, "I don't know anymore. All of these children were unpleasant, telling me what to do." Very quickly, the schoolyard was in an uproar. It turned out that the black girl had beaten Ran. "Hey, that bastard had killed my friend, a damn murderer." The students who were watching all laughed heartily. No one helped Ryan. On the contrary, some even mocked him for being beaten up by a girl, weakling. The black police found Ryan in the medical room and tried to ask about things related to Jamie, but Ran was ambiguous and didn't speak clearly. After hanging around like that for a while, the black police still couldn't ask anything. It was still his son who took the initiative to call him over. "Dad, you can't find out because you don't understand it all." Saying that, Adam took out his phone to show his father Instagram, on which students use a few small icons to post seemingly normal statuses with friends, but in fact, these icons all have their own codes and meanings. The dynamite icon refers to the red pill. The blue pill represents that you will see the world as others want you to see it. The black police heard it, and their heads were spinning. "What is this? And there's also a code. What are you doing? Are you spinning the matrix?" Adam's words made him speechless. The black police realized that they had misspoken and could only stay silent. Adam then continued talking about the code. "The meaning of the red pill is that I have seen the real world. This is a call to action that men give. The so-called male gender is the 80-20th rule. This rule means that 80% of women will be attracted to a small minority. 20% of men believe that to gain the favor of women, they must use unusual ways or tricks. This is the so-called is a group of involuntary single men. Jai was ridiculed by Ketty as an involuntary single man. Black police don't understand. Jai is only 13 years old. How can he be an involuntary single man? Is this reasonable or not? Regardless of whether it is reasonable or not, but the truth is like that. I can randomly find 15 comments under Jamie's post. All of them are different emoticons, but they all say the same thing. These words made the same Oh, black police, wake up. It seems that Jamie's motive for killing was because Ketty took the lead in humiliating him is an involuntary failed man. Jamie was always bullied by Ketty, but Adam actually couldn't determine anyway he and Ketty and Jamie weren't in the same class. The reason he told his father these things was just because he didn't want his father to continue like a moth to a flame rushing into the investigation, but still couldn't find the main. At one point, the black police immediately felt that he was very useless to him and said the most failed. Perhaps he was from Adam's words and his strange reaction. His classmates keenly realized that Adam was most likely in the same situation. The thing is, Jamie, who was also placed in the fringe group of involuntary single men who were bullied by other classmates, he looked guilty and asked Adam if that was true. Adam tried to act calm, but his evasive expression and aggrieved expression actually betrayed his true thoughts. The black police said goodbye to his son. The mood couldn't help but become extremely heavy. Do you think the kids learned anything here? It felt more like a barn every classroom was teaching by video. The teacher came and went as he pleased. He went to Ran's class again, wanting to ask Han, but Ran just seeing him climb out the window and run away. This made the black police even more convinced of the speculation that this kid had a problem in his heart. He didn't say much, chased after him, caught Ryan, immediately forced him to question. Him couldn't take it. He finally confessed that it was my job. I just wanted things to go back to normal. Getting this confession was enough for them to arrest Ran as Jamie's accomplice, and at this point the whole case was almost clear. The black police gave up their hard-earned work hours to wait for their son to finish school at the school gate, took the initiative to take him with him. Dad just wanted to be with him for a while because Dad loves him this time. This case for him, the biggest gain was that he finally realized his indifference towards his son on this side. Jemmy's father went to Ketty's death site to offer a bouquet of flowers 7 months later. The clinical psychologist from the Propatestad Grepatasen Tibau Psychological Safety Training Center Brian came to the police station. She wanted to write a report regarding Jamie. Jamie was imprisoned in 7 wins. He was always very quiet. But recently he had a fierce physical conflict with his cellmate. When she met Jamie, the two of them were like friends, greeting each other warmly at first, but Jamie quickly couldn't pretend anymore. Now she asked, "What kind of bread?" "I was just curious. It felt like she was trying to set me up." "What did she want to set you up for?" "What did she want to set me up for?" She just wanted to ask what Jai thought about her father. This kid was actually very smart. To end this meaningless argument, he directly used the sentence, "My father treats me very well," as the final sentence. During this fight, Jamie seemed to have taken a step back, but the next second, he made a request to see Brian write a psychological evaluation report for her. Bryony smiled and refused this rude request because although she was hired by Jamie's family, her psychological report was for the judge to see so that the judge could understand Jamie better in this situation. Jamie himself understood that this report was very important. Can influence the judge's verdict. He better show some good situations to BNY, but he clearly can't think of how to achieve that. Can only while Brian tries to keep asking questions using an antagonistic attitude to defend Brian. Fails again and again, but still keeps a smile on his face, constantly asking from different angles. Jamie finally gets asked by her to the point where he can't help but tell the truth. Starting with simple questions answering him, he says, in his eyes, his dad is just a toilet repairman. Hard work, hard work. His dad's personality hard-working but doesn't care much about him hot-tempered, but at least he never hits him when Brian continues to ask Jamie. Starts to tell more about his dad. His dad likes sports but he doesn't. But his dad still takes him to soccer practice saying, up to here, Jamie's expression starts to become unnatural. His breathing also becomes rapid, but once you don't perform well, Dad will have to build up the mentality for a long time before saying that Dad facing his failure will look away, pretending not to see, trying to hide the disappointed look. Dad's disappointment is probably a huge blow to him. Brian at this moment finally has a clue to write a report. Do you feel like you have no talent? No, but I don't care. Jamie thinks he has no talent and can't do anything well, even comforts himself that most people are like that, but what makes Jamie the most depressed is that his accomplice Ryan can go home to wait for trial while he has to be detained in this mental hospital-like detention place. As he speaks, he stands up agitatedly. He screams angrily, I don't want to sit down. You tell me to sit down, I will sit down for sure. This reaction scared Brian, also made the security guard come. Brian could only temporarily stop and go out to calm down for a bit, then review the recorded video to analyze Jamie's body language very quickly. She calmly walked back into the room. Okay, Jamie, I'm not a policeman, nor am I here to force you to confess. I'm just here to find out a few things. This time, her main question was whether Jamie has ever loved anyone, what kind of relationship he hopes to have, and his view on women compared to his father and Jamie. He feels his mother is incompetent, but he likes women, and also longs to establish relationships with women. He even bragged that 2 girls took off their clothes for him. One of them even touched his privates, but through his pants. After saying these things, Jamie faced Brianny's all-seeing gaze. I couldn't help but cover his face and admit that all of what he just said was a lie. He basically didn't. He'd never been touched by anyone. No 2 girls let him see naked. He only saw nude photos of 2 girls his age. One of them was posted by Ketty herself to a male student his age. As a result, this male student released the photos. Not only Jai saw the photos, Brian continued to ask, so does he have feelings for Ketty? Jai firmly denied. The reason given was still criticizing the body shape of the result was too flat, basically not the type of person he liked. A few sentences later, he got angry again. In a fit of anger, he stepped forward and even tried to attack Brian. Luckily, at this time, the security guard appeared in time. Jamie faced the taller security guard who was older than him and immediately calmed down. Brian actually felt terrified by Jamie's violent temper, but her professional ethics could only make her continue to ask. This time, the issue was even more sensitive. It was related to Jamie's Instagram comments. Jamie faced these things, instinctively wanting to avoid them. even using words to attack Brian. What did these emoticons mean? It was shameful to be scared like that by a 13-year-old boy, but this was useless. In the end, he could only obediently reply. These comments were all attacks and mockery of him, and Ketty was at the forefront of them, so why did she only target me because I was ugly? But after the scandal nude photo, he asked Ketty to go to the amusement park while everyone was gossiping about Ketty. He comforted Ketty, saying that he was sorry that everyone treated her like that, then asked Ketty if she would be willing to go to the amusement park with him. He originally thought that Ketty would become weak at this time, and then accept his invitation. He could take the opportunity to move forward, but he didn't expect Ketty not to like him. He just laughed and said he wasn't that miserable. Just this one sentence provoked Jai, and after knowing these things for Brianni, it was more than enough. She wanted to end the meeting. Jamie just now was still arrogant, then in a blink of an eye, became mean, like finally remembering she still needed to please Brianni so that Brian would write her some nice words. Do you like me? But in the situation, Brian didn't answer directly. Whether he liked him or not, Jamie immediately got angry. The security could only drag him out, and after Jamie left, go the emotions that Brian always tried to control to show her face insecure and scared. Jamie is a tragic child on his body, reflects too many social and family problems. Father is easily angered, absent, only cares about success or not, makes him only learn from his father anger and inferiority. He cannot build self-esteem and healthy confidence when having parents around at the same time being bullied at school. Becomes more sensitive and easily angered, but these are not the reasons for him to kill Ketty. Very clearly, he craves the love of women, not only for Ketty but also for the therapist Brian. He craves recognition and praise. Once not get it, then will use violence, use screaming to threaten the other person, because at the same time he fundamentally looks down on women. Consider women as low-level creatures that must obey him. Brian cannot avoid being affected every moment. Facing him feels like walking on thin ice. Life is threatened, but luckily I already know how to write this report. Jemmy's dad, today is his birthday. The whole family was happy and harmonious, but the eldest daughter suddenly burst in with a terrified look. Dad, did you see my car? What did you see? What was on the truck? Jemmy's father had just left the house when he discovered that his car had been graffitied with curses about the pedophiles in the neighborhood. Standing far away, he couldn't help but get angry and ordered his wife to call the police. After calling the police, his wife felt that this was just a temporary plan. They should move away. She thought that moving back to Liverpool would make things better. I assure you, there is no worse, only worse. You know that yourself. Jai's father was bold and said that they had done nothing wrong. Ask yourself, are you ashamed of your conscience? Absolutely cannot be ashamed to move away from here. But when he took his son-in-law to wipe the car and faced the neighbors pointing fingers, he was also very angry. What made people even angrier was that the next second, 2 male students laughed and rode their bikes past. Jamie's father was cursed to the point of rage. He couldn't even wipe off the paint on the car. He could only take his wife and children to the hardware store to buy paint to cover up those dirty words. When they got in the car, he comforted them. The daughter waited until she came back from the hardware store so they could go see a movie and have dinner together. After all, today was her birthday. And his diary, the whole family talked about these plans. The atmosphere gradually became warm again. Jai's mother even started to recall the first time she met her husband. Father and daughter wore a super silly pink wig. Everyone burst out, "Oh," laughing. But father and daughter didn't pay any attention. Mother and daughter told daughter to find the song they met and dance together that year. To the music echoing in the car, the whole family became even more happy and harmonious. Looking from the memories of parents, the time they met was also a dance when they were 13 years old, the same age as Jemmy. Now, the difference was that Dad could attract Mom, but Jai couldn't at that dance at first. No one danced. Everyone was very shy. The teacher was very impatient. Then at this moment, only Jemmy's father bravely stood up in the middle of the dance floor and started dancing. Although he wasn't very good at dancing, but at least he made everyone laugh out loud, making the atmosphere more lively, also making Jemmy's mother successfully notice him. They danced together, then Jemmy's father took the initiative to take Mom. Jemmy came home after the ball ended just this one. Nothing can see Jemmy's father is braver, more outgoing, and cheerful. Jemmy, his way of attracting girls is to shine on his own, not to take advantage of rejection, then get angry. This warmth and cheerfulness disappeared when Jai's father. I entered the hardware store after being recognized by a young employee who looked very eccentric. "Wait a minute, I just realized who you are. I saw your picture on Facebook." He kept telling his father Jamie just wanted to let him know that I was on his side. He even thought that Keddy was not Jemmy killed. The reason is so ridiculous. Even though Keddy had stab wounds, but they were all stabs to the bone. This level is not fatal. Moreover, he also saw Keddy's nude photos. He felt that Keddy was not a good person. Hearing this, Jai's father couldn't listen anymore. He couldn't help but interrupt the young man, asking him to quickly take son out. The previous generation of straight men still lacked understanding of the abstract generation. The image of the latest involuntary single men, the other party only slightly revealed a bit of his ability, making him so disgusted that he was speechless. Meeting this person made Jai's father's mood plummet even worse. When he walked out of the hardware store, he discovered that the two young men on bicycles had appeared around the hardware store earlier. It seemed that they were most likely always following him. Being followed by others and peeping with bad intentions was what it felt like to be followed by Jemmy while alive. Perhaps his mood was as upset as Jemmy's father's at this moment. He did not hesitate to rush up and grab a kid by the collar and curse, "What did you do? What did you do with my bike? It's just a joke, it's not funny at all." Heard clearly. And not turning back, he violently threw paint on his car. His wife and daughter were all stunned. Everyone was scared by his reaction. The whole family was silent in the car. The atmosphere almost froze. At this time, Jay called Jemmy's father. Initially, he appeared calm until Jemmy threw down a heavy bomb. I decided to change my statement and confess, "Dad." This bomb made everyone have no choice but to accept the truth. Jai finally said a sincere sentence, "I'm really sorry. Happy birthday, Dad." After saying that, he hung up the phone, but how could Jemmy's father be happy anymore? But to take care of his wife and children, he still went home and put on new clothes to go to the movies. Jemmy's mother quickly stopped him. "Or maybe we shouldn't go to the movies anymore." Jai's mother didn't think this was the right time to pretend like nothing happened. She sat down and talked to Jemmy's father, telling him to accept the truth. Jamie's father actually didn't believe his son could kill someone from the beginning until he saw the surveillance footage. Everything was clear, the pulse was recorded. He couldn't help but believe it, but how could he? And accept the fact that his son had become a murderer compared to Jemmy's father. Jemmy's mother performed much better. She actually took care of Jemmy more, so she had more clues in her heart about this matter, a child becoming spoiled. Here wasn't something that could be done in a moment at first. Jamie just stopped talking to his family when he got home. He went upstairs, locked the door to his room to play computer. Playing until midnight. Jai's mother thought more and more about it and felt more and more guilty. Maybe they started to care about their son from then on. Then the result would have been different. Jai's father just felt helpless. Think about this. How could they control it now? On the internet, everywhere is pornographic content. The room is more than empty words in Jemmy's mother's eyes. It was just making excuses. If they really wanted to control it, then why? Couldn't they control it? Jai had the same personality as his father. They were both easily angered, easily emotionally unstable. Jemmy's father was talked to the point of also starting to doubt life. Was this really their fault? But he had never hit Jamie, never, because when he was young, he was often abused by his father, so he swore that he would never hit his son. Was it wrong to do so? He tried his best. We all tried our best. He also tried to take Jamie to soccer and boxing lessons. But Jai couldn't do it when Jamie was ridiculed by other parents. Now thinking back, he was very regret that at that time, I didn't have the courage to look at my child. Think back a bit. Originally, Jai's interests are not these sports. This child likes drawing more as a father. He ignored Jamie's interests. Also did not have enough encouragement and companionship because of busy work. He neglected education later. Jai became more and more silent also. Wayne stopped drawing. They all didn't pay attention to this, all thought that this can't learn bad, right? We think like this is safe in the room. How can bad be learned? Jai's mother can only hug her husband, comfort him. Don't be too heartbroken. This is not something they can foresee, but now thinking back, Jai chose his father as the right adult. Perhaps he had guessed early on his father's personality, easy to fool, also very easily angered, he hoped. Think that he would deny again and again that he didn't kill the father will stand up to protect him at this moment. The eldest daughter suddenly came to interrupt the scene of the couple tearfully looking at each other. Daughter. Playgirl, on the other hand, was much stronger when facing her parents' worries about whether she might be bullied at school. She bluntly said that she was indeed bullied more or less, but they couldn't move because of that, because avoiding the problem wouldn't solve the problem. Although moving might bring temporary peace, when these things were brought up again, they would all fall into the same situation. They couldn't keep moving forever. Taking a step back, Jemmy was their family. They needed to pay a price for Jemmy's mistakes. The daughter calmed her parents down with just a few sentences. How could we have given birth to such a good daughter? It was just like we gave birth to Jemmy. Luckily, they didn't have just one child. But when she turned around, Jemmy's father still couldn't help but hide in Jai's room and cry. It probably took him a long time to accept the damage Jai had caused to this family. The value of a movie lies in its reputation. The value of a movie review lies in the feeling of the story today. Ends here. Thank you for watching the movie. What do you think of this movie?